What's going on, guys? Welcome back to part 3 of the 1JZ 240SX build. Actually, I need you guys' help. We need to come up with a name for this car. That way we can stop calling it the 1JZ 240SX, because that's pretty basic, pretty common. So comment down below what you think we should name the S13. And that being said, let's go ahead and continue on to today's video. So let me go ahead and continue this video with a little update of what we've done off camera since the last video. You guys know that we got all the wiring done, taillights, brake lights, blah blah blah, wipers, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So since then, all we pretty much did was install a boost gauge, which you guys saw in a different video, and we cleaned up the wiring. If you can tell, there's a bunch of P-clamps everywhere. The wires are ran nice and tight, nice and neat throughout the body where it goes through here, and the harness that goes to the back is all nice and loomed and P-clamped up there, and comes out the back nice and P-clamped along the edge there to keep it all tucked in the corner, as you can see. And it's up there for the taillights, as well as this side, all nice and neat, all tucked away, not any loose wires hanging around. And that's the biggest thing I wanted to do with this car. I didn't want any wires just drooping around everywhere. I also went ahead and just installed the taillights and the center garnish for now. I'm going to pull the taillights off and do it for paint, but I just wanted it to be in there so it looks a little more like a car. We got a lot to do today. Little spoiler alert, at the end of this video, this motor will turn over and it will start. Fingers crossed. But we got a bunch of parts that are coming in soon, coming in the mail, and it's the last things that we're waiting for to get this thing finally up and running for the most part. So let's just go ahead and first things first, let's go ahead and go to the gas station, get some gas, because I drained the tank the other day because it was fuel sitting for who knows how many months. And let's get some fresh fuel in there, put the fuel pump in, blah blah blah, just get this thing going. Got some stickers, our high pressure power steering line, our brake line relocation thing. Yeah. So let's go ahead and start by removing our old fuel pump, getting all this stuff out of here and replacing it with our new Deetsworks fuel pump. I believe this is the DW200 series. I think it's a 256 LPH or whatever it is. But yeah, let's go ahead and get the old pump out of here and replace it with this one. Once you get the lid off and you get your two fuel lines off, I personally like to zip tie my lines up to the side. That way I don't lose them just in case they want to fall back or something, but that's your own personal preference. Next, we got to do all these 8mm or Phillips heads, whichever one you want to use. We can pull this whole sending unit out and replace the pump. And just got to finesse it out of here around the little float here, and make sure you just don't drip it everywhere. You pull it right out. So I never actually knew what was in here. I assumed it was something different because it did have an SR in it before I got this chassis, and if you can look there, it actually has a Walbro in it, which I'm sure would have done fine if I kept it in there, but like, you never want to half-ass steps and skip the steps, so might as well put, and it looks like there's a bit of corrosion everywhere, so, oh, look at that. Old fuel line is deteriorating. I think it's even ripped through. So yeah, it's a good thing that we're doing this. That way we have proper fueling to this car. So I got the fuel pump out and I'm trying to take this hose out that was in it. Nope, that fell out. And you can see how deteriorated this thing is. The hose comes all rusty. Honestly, I don't think for how long this thing was, I'm assuming this thing was in here for, there's no reason for this hose to be this worn out and deteriorated. So just a pro tip, make sure you're using the right hose for this, especially because it's going to be submerged in your fuel tank. I'm going to be using the one that was provided with the fuel pump, that way I know it's good. But if you guys just didn't come with one, do your research, make sure you get the right stuff, because you don't want this happening. Because long story short, worst case scenario, this could lead into low fuel pressure and you could hurt your motor. So do things right, don't half-ass things. Let's go ahead and get this off. Alright, so there's 1.5 million different ways you can do this. Pretty much you cut your old connector off for your old fuel pump, and then you get the connector that's provided with your new pump. That way, you know, obviously you can plug it into your pump. And you can either, the worst way I think you can do it, but it works, is just twist the wires together, tape them up, and they'll have connection, but you know, who knows how long they're going to take before they separate. Or you can put a little fitting in here, those crimp fittings, stick the 2 wires, crimp it together, and tape it, I guess, which is better. That way at least you have something holding it together, not just the wires. But again, it could eventually shake loose and come apart from each other. And then we have the way that I'm going to do it. As you guys can see, we got the soldering iron back here. We've been soldering almost every single electrical wire on this build. So I figured, why not continue it with one of the few last things on this car. So we're just going to go ahead and get these together, solder them up, put some shrink wrap over it, and then install the fuel pump inside of the unit. Alright, now that we got the wiring all wired up and taken care of, all we gotta do is assemble the pump and put it onto our hanger. So obviously, follow the instructions to your fuel pump. Everyone could be different. This one is different than the Walbro 255 that I put into my RX-7. So we're just gonna go ahead and follow the instructions. So just put in the sock. For this one, you put on the sock. It has this little metal clip. I don't know if you can see it in there, right there. That's gonna hold this sock on the bottom. Then there's this rubber grommet that we're gonna place on the bottom here, and it's gonna sit on the hanger. And we're just gonna put the hose up and everything. So let's just go ahead and do it. Okay, so we got the new fuel pump in. The hose clamps are all tight. It's all wired up. We got the rubber grommet on the bottom, and I also went ahead and put a rubber grommet there, and I zip tied it to the body because it didn't seem secure enough for me. So I went ahead and just added a little extra. Never hurt. So go ahead and pop this back in here and move on to the next thing. So we got our power steering high pressure line up from the pump down into the rack down there. Can kind of see it, it's pretty tight. So, and we have to get 3/8 hose to go from the reservoir down to the return line to the rack. We're just gonna get 2 feet of it for now. We're probably gonna end up switching over to AN line to do, a power steering cooler. But in the meantime, just to get this thing going, let's go ahead and just get some hose. That way we can get it together. Okay, so we got our power steering return hose in. We got the engine filled up with oil as well as the power steering. And right now I'm just gonna go ahead and see if it'll crank. I don't have any fuel in it. I'm not gonna turn the ECU on. I'm just gonna put power to the starter just to see if it'll crank. Our thing is connected, and it's just, theoretically speaking, if we did everything right, when I push this should start to crank. So let's give it a shot. Okay, well, it's dead. Let's go ahead and charge the battery and then we'll go from there. Alright, because the battery's dead, we went ahead and parked the X5 right over there and have the jumper cables hooked up. So let's go ahead and try to crank it. Okay, it cranks. That's a good sign. Another reason why I wanted to just crank it is because it's been sitting for a little bit. I wanted the oil to kind of build up some oil pressure, I believe. I learned that from Jason, especially when your car's sitting for a while. Let it crank just to build up some oil pressure. So, yeah, now let's just, let's go ahead and try to start it. I'm going to set you guys back down on the tripod because if it starts, I'm going to be way too excited. Oh, and also we have to put some gas into it. Arco 87, only the best for this here girl. I'm just kidding. And new one. Alright, moment of truth. Will it start? Let's check for a few leaks first. Alright. Yes! Alright guys, I don't know if you guys can tell with like the smile that's on my face, but I'm so excited. The thing started up no problem. I thought I was gonna have issues. At least it was gonna take a couple seconds to start, but it started right up. Motor sounds as healthy as ever. So I was gonna make this video a lot longer, but I feel like this is a good point to stop this video for today. We got the fuel pump in and we got the motor started. Power steering's all hooked up. The motor started and it ran good. No fuel leaks, no power steering leaks, no oil leaks. So that being said, I feel like this is a great place to end this video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are excited as I am for this thing to be running. It's only going to take one more piece and technically I can drive the thing, but we're not going to do that. We're going to take it slow, get all the interior pieces back on, get the drive shaft and all the suspension and whatnot. That being said, thank you guys for watching. Peace out. See you guys in the next one.